this kind of problem in number 6, the thing you're looking for, it's kind of 2 layers of information. One, you want the equation of the tangent line. So we want y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's the equation of a line. And so if you think about it, there's this graph here. You're welcome to graph it, but let's say it looks like this. In this red here, the tangent line equation is finding the equation of the line that kind of runs and just touches at a particular point. In this case, touches at 0, 1. So if you remember, that's the whole point of a derivative, is to give you the slope of the tangent line. So all we're going to get from the derivative is this slope business. We're just going to, we're just going to get m in that situation. That's it. That's all we get out of it. The x and the y are going to come from the point that we have, which has an x. We're going to use that 0 that you see right there. That's going to be our x1, and the y is going to be that 1 that we have in there. So y1. I have trouble with my stylus all of a sudden, can't touch. But y1 is that 1 that you see in that coordinate point that we're given. So the only thing I'm really missing, I got to get the derivative so that I can get my m. The x1 and the y1, I'm going to just place in x1 and y1 in that equation. Now, I believe we have to solve for y, because that's what this is asking of us. So we need to find out what y equals. We'll do that, so no big deal. It's pretty flexible. One of the great things about WebAssign is it does give us some flexibility. All right, here's y prime. Here's what I'm going to do. Y prime, the derivative of the graph I started with way back here, or the equation I started with, I'm going to do the chain rule. Now, you're welcome to try and distribute that out, but we haven't really talked about using the rules that go with it. The chain rule is going to be the easiest one for you. That e to the 4x minus 2 squared, you bring the 2 out front, leave the inside untouched whenever you have something in parentheses, minus 2, and then reduce the power by 1, so it's to 1 instead of 2, and then right after that we're going to take the derivative of the inside. The cool thing about the derivative of e to the 4x is you rewrite it, e to the 4x, and then multiply it by the derivative of its exponent, which is 4. Okay, so the derivative of 4x is just 4. The derivative of the minus 2 is nothing, so that's it. We're done. That's our derivative. So if we can just plug in the x that we're given into that equation, we're good to go, and I can. So y prime equals 2 times e to the 4 times 0, which is 0, because I'm putting in 0 for x. That's the key. Now my derivative has other things. You know, there's the point that we're given is an x and y coordinate point, but I'm only going to put in the x because that's what I have in my derivative. I just put in what I have available to me. Sorry about that. So e to the 0 minus 2, because I put x is 0 into my derivative, and then e to the 4x, if I put 0 in there, again is e to the 0, and then times 4. Now I'm doing this in this standard, I mean the equation I didn't solve, I didn't simplify, I didn't go beyond my original derivative. I'm just plugging 0 in for x. And now e to the 0, you have to remember anything to the 0 is 1. So this is 1 minus 2. And this e to the 0 in the second part is also 1 times 4. Okay, and so ultimately this ends up being pretty nice. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And then 1 times 4 is 4. Now if we can put this all together, are you okay with the leap? That's negative 2 times 4, which is negative 8. Bingo, that's our slope. Now that's y prime, so that's just our slope. That's just the m that goes in our equation. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put in up top here. I'm just going to go put a little arrow and say, all right, m, you're negative 8. Bingo. That part is resolved. That's what the derivative gives us, the slope of the tangent line at a given point. Y is going to be, I'm going to put in 1, and x, I'm going to plug in 0. So ultimately what this equation becomes is, and I'm going to go in a different color here to kind of show you I'm closing out here, go blue up at the top, but I have y minus 1 equals negative 8 times x minus 0. Now that's almost done, except I need to add 1 to both sides. So in the end, this is what I'm going to write in here. Y equals negative 8 in my parentheses here. Make some room for it. And then remember it was x minus 0, which is just x. And then remember I have to get rid of that minus 1 in my original equation by plugging it in. I have to put plus 1. This is me solving for y. Things that you might not I'm going to put up here this maybe in green to show you the algebra that I went through. I added 1 to both sides. So I added 1 both sides. I didn't even take away the parentheses, but I love that WebAssign is pretty flexible. It should take that expression, but it's just negative 8x plus 1, but that's 6. That's all there is to it. There are other, I'm sure, intricacies that you might run into, but hope that helps.